Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It is once again time for a shop tour. We're kind of getting into post runoffs, just normalcy, although super busy. But we are right in the last Thursday of October, October 27th. Halloween coming up on Monday. Next thing you know, it's going to be getting really cold. So it's okay, we're nice and warm here in the shop, working away. So let's jump right into the shop tour. I'm going to kind of explain what happened here, although I don't for sure know. This is a new block for Ward Marshall's engine. If any of you guys have been paying attention, you know that I finished his engine months ago, 2-3 months ago. And for some reason, we had a thrust washer failure. When I got the engine back, the thrust washers were oriented properly. The first thing I always think about is, and just so you guys know, when you're looking at thrust washers, that is the side that has the oil grooves that goes towards the crank. If you put this towards the crank, you will have a thrust washer failure. I did that once 20-something years ago, and believe me, I do not do that anymore. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but when you have a thrust washer failure, crankshaft pushes up into the block, ruins the crankshaft, ruins the block, you're kind of starting over. So we've got our new block, we've got our new crank, reassembling everything. That's kind of the next engine to go together. So that's where we're at there. Shouldn't be too much longer. So what you're going to notice here in the shop this week is that we've got some new cars that have not been in the shop for a while. Now, this car is actually, this is Mike Froh's F Production Miata. It's been a couple years now since I built this car, but this was the first car that I did that got powder coated. So you can see, and these are just bugs. See all these bugs? You can see this, even though this car has been on the track, we still don't have rock chips on this powder coated cage. But it was kind of cool because when the car came in and I took a look at it, I'm like, damn, this car's pretty nice looking. So really, the car's really looking nice. It's back for an engine refresh. We're going to do some corner weight and alignment. I really haven't seen the car since it left a couple years ago, but it kind of reminded me of that new car that I built for Steven. It's kind of easy to see that the same person built these rear decks. That would be me. And it's a little bit dirty over there, but this is the way they turn out when you get them painted the body color, which is what Steven will be doing as well. Car really looks nice. So be getting to work on this, get the motor out, get things kind of get the ball rolling. This car will actually be here all winter. Mike is actually from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, has a house a couple miles from the track up there, and so in the wintertime he does not come down and pay me a visit, so this car is going to be here for the duration. After I get the engine out and diagnose the suspension, it'll probably end up going to storage for a couple of months while we get all the process going. So another engine in from TRB Autosports. This would be an STL motor for the Elders that needs a refresh, and I finally got Jake Anton talked into rebuilding his engine. So this engine is about 5 years old. I need to look at the build sheet. He did not run in 2020, so let's call it 4 seasons, I think, which is a little bit longer than I would normally suggest you go. And I've been warning him, we need to rebuild this engine because if you blow it up from overuse, it's going to cost a lot more. Fortunately, he made it through the last race of the season, so this engine needs to come out as well and kind of get the same treatment as Mike's. Do our upgrades and do all of our improvements and freshen it up and try and make some more power. But car's looking pretty good. It's got a couple of extracurricular dings in it, but we actually built this car. Well, this may be like the 3rd season on the car, but this motor actually came out of his old car and got put into this car when we built this 99 chassis. So looking good there. In our restoration process of differentials. You can see the cases are all glass beaded. We've got the flanges. Last week we talked about getting the flanges off of these pinion flanges. What am I trying to say here? Call them rubber mounted donuts. They're like a vibration. We talked about it last week. Don't pay any attention to me, but if you don't press those off in a racing application, they tend to break loose and then you have a really bad vibration. So those are removed. Flanges are glass beaded, looking good. Just waiting on some side bearings, and then these will be together like that. So in the meantime, Eric's engine is back together. Back together, running, oil change, everything's perfect. So I've got the drop floor ordered. Actually talked to the new owner. So this car is going to be going up to Milwaukee. Talked to the new owner. I don't know that I'm going to quite tell you guys who it is quite yet, although he did say that I could. We'll talk about him eventually here. He's a little taller than Eric, so we're going to be installing the drop floor, and we need to get this done because he's wanting to come get this car before the snow flies as well. So we're going to jump into the drop floor modification on this car. It sounds like Eric's going to give this guy an option on steering wheels. So this is the wheel that Eric used to run, which gives you a little more clearance with your leg. I think this may be the one that this guy's going to want versus this other one. You can see it gives you a little more room. And if I remember right, this wheel that's in the car now was something that Eric won. It's a Mazda wheel. It's one of the Max Pappas wheels. Kind of a cool piece. So I'm betting that Eric's going to want to keep this wheel. And actually, this is an OMP. This is a really nice wheel too. So, but yeah, need to yank the seat out, get these nets out of the way. It's always easier to do a drop floor when the cage is not installed, but got no choice on that. So we'll be getting to working on this. Get this car finalized up, getting headed off to the new owner. So that's kind of where we're at here. Tomorrow, Steven and Perry will be coming to pick up Steven's chassis. I think I only have one modification since last week, and it's this bungee cord holding the doors closed. Pretty slick, huh? And actually Perry's bringing me his track day car that will be taking the place of this car that's going to need to get some welding and stripping, and it's going to get powder coated too. We may have talked about that last week. So that's kind of where we're at. I will admit the only action that has happened on the BMW in the last week is nothing. I have completely failed on my 15 minutes a day because the other thing that I've really been pushing on, come this direction. If you remember last week, I had that really nice 04 Miata inside here, and I ended up replacing the wiring harness, the entire wiring harness. So little did I know that the wiring harness for the chassis starts here. So it literally starts all the way up here in the headlights, the fog lights. It comes back through the firewall, across behind the dash, all the way back to a connector by the fuel tank, back through the dash, and all the way over to that corner. One harness. Honestly, I had never changed an entire harness like that before on a Miata, but the car is beautiful and it's done, and it's going to be heading off to somebody else hopefully very soon. So this has actually been taking up not just my 15 minutes a day, more like my 5-6 hours a day for the last week or so. But it's looking really good. Just needs a final polish. It's that really pretty color. I think the new owner is really going to love it. And one of the things that I may have talked about last week was the fact that the guy that had owned this car was a good customer, and he was actually a veteran and passed away a few years ago. And so this has kind of been a little bit of a labor of love for me too, to get his car back up to the condition that it should be in. It's a really cool car, flying Miata turbo system, couple hundred horsepower, pretty sweet piece. So really proud to kind of get this finished up. So that's kind of where we're at this week, guys. I appreciate you watching as always. And remember, if you haven't ordered one yet, the JPM Performance hoodies are for sale for about another 5 or 6 days. And that's it. Limited production. You can find that link right here on this video. I also posted it on my Facebook page, which you might be able to see as well. But it shouldn't be hard to find. So appreciate those of you that have already ordered them. Go get yours today. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good rest of your week. Take care.